Hey everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to create several fixtures inside JDA space planning. So let's get started. To start, we're going to create a new project. We're going to navigate to this icon in the top left and we're going to click Project. This way we can give our project a name from the very start. We're going to call this project Creating Fixtures. And for the primary key, we're going to click UPC down here on the bottom left. And once you have those two items checked in there, so we'll click OK. And it will say create initial planogram. We want to say yes. So now we're going to enter our planogram properties just as we have before. So this planogram is going to be named Fixtures. And the planogram is going to be 6 feet high and it's going to be 12 feet wide. So let's type in 12 for the width. And the depth will be 2 feet deep. We want to make sure for the base, it says show the base. The base will be also 12 feet wide. And it's going to be 2 feet deep. And it will be 6 inches high. So we got 6 inches, 12 feet, and 2 feet depth. Okay, so next we're going to go to our Segments tab because we're going to split this into 4 segments. So we're going to click on Split and we're going to type in 4. And we will click OK and we will say yes. And so we have our 4 segments here and we're just going to click OK. So now it's time to start creating our fixtures. The first fixture we're going to create is a sign fixture. To do that, we're going to go to our Build tab up here, the second tab over, and we're going to the Fixtures section of this ribbon, and we're going to click Create, and at the very bottom you'll see Sign. We're going to label this sign. Now let's input the dimensions. It is going to be 10 inches in height. It will be 24 inches wide and will be 1 inch in depth. So 10 by 24 by 1 inch in depth. And we're going to change this color over here where it says color, and we're going to give it a dark green. Everything in this first segment will be a green color. All right, so once everything looks okay, we can click OK. And a sign was created. So all we're going to do is we're going to actually just drag this up and we're going to place it on top of our planogram wall. Now we are going to label this sign. To create a label for the sign, this is more for our use, but you will click Create, Text, and I'm just going to drag a text box on here and I'm going to type in sign. And I will click OK. And now that fixture has been labeled. Next, we're going to create a background for the segment 1 using the sign fixture. So if you'd like to apply like a wallpaper or a material image to your entire planogram, you can do that by double-clicking on your planogram and going to Image and finding like a JPEG or a PNG file for that background image. However, if you just want to do one segment or different colors, textures, images for each segment, you're going to need to use the sign feature. So let's go to Create under Fixtures and click Sign. Now this sign is going to be 66 inches in height. So I'm going to type in 66. It'll be 3 feet wide and it's going to be 1 inch in depth. I'm going to double check over all my dimensions, make sure everything looks good. This needs to be 3 feet, so we'll type in 36. The 66 inches comes from the 72 minus the base. So now we just need to go to our image and we're going to find an image for this. I saved some wallpaper images on my desktop and I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to slide this over to the first segment. However, I do not see the image, so I'm going to go to the Home tab and I'm going to click on Bitmaps. And now you can see that that image is showing up. Next, we're going to create a pegboard fixture in this segment. So we've created a pegboard fixture before. We're going to go to the Build tab, and we are going to go to Fixtures, Create, and we are going to click on the pegboard. And we are going to call this pegboard. So for this pegboard, we want it to be 24 inches in height. It'll be 3 feet wide, or 36 inches, and it will be 1 inch in depth. Now here we have our X, Y location. We can always move those around two-dimensionally, but we want to input 1 inch for the Z. That is the depth. Because the sign has 1 inch in depth, we want it to sit on top of that sign. So therefore we will put 1 inch, and therefore the pegboard will sit on top of that sign. So I'm going to give this a dark teal color, kind of go with everything, and then we'll make sure everything's labeled correctly, and we'll click OK. So now I can drag this and put this here. I'm going to create my text. I'm just going to call this pegboard. And click OK. I can always scale down my text. Now we are going to go to the 3D view just to see how everything is looking. So I'm going to click View, and I'm going to click 3D, and I can click the bitmaps if I want to see the bitmaps. And I'm going to use the rotate tool to kind of rotate around. I can see that my pegboard is sitting on top of that wallpaper correctly. So far everything is looking good. I'm going to go back to my view and click front, and then I'm going to go back to my build tab to continue on with my project. So next is segment number 2. We are going to create a door. So to do this, we're actually going to double click on the planogram to bring up the planogram properties dialog box. So I'm just double clicking on my planogram and this box pops up. If this does not work for you, please let me know. You may just have to navigate to the planogram properties through the main menu right here. But regardless, you need to get to your planogram properties dialog box. So next we are going to navigate to the segments tab, and we're going to click on the second segment. In the bottom right quadrant of the dialog box, they're under the store section, we're going to change the frame height to 2 inches and the frame width to 2 inches. So let's change 2 inches here and 2 inches here. And we are going to change the color to a hot pink. Click the color and we'll choose hot pink. And finally, we want to make sure that we check the box to show door handle and make sure left is selected. So show door handle and left is selected. And we're just going to look over this one more time, make sure everything looks good, and we're going to click OK. So now we see that there is now a door. If we go to 3D space, we can take a look at this door. Awesome. So let's get back to building more fixtures. I am going to label this before I get any further with a text. I'm just drawing my text box, and we're just going to call this door. So the next fixture we're going to create will go inside this door fixture, and we are going to create a shelf with a grill. So we've made shelves before, but this one will have an angle. It will have a grill attached to the front. So it's something we haven't done before. We are going to navigate to the Build tab under Fixtures, and we're going to click Create Shelf. All right, we're going to call this Shelf 1. Now the dimensions of this shelf, the height will be 1 inch, the width will be 3 feet or 36 inches, and the depth will be 20 inches. And now, if you go to the rotation section, you're going to type in -15 for the slope. This will slope the shelf just a little bit. And right below that, under the grill section, you'll enter 3 inches for the grill. So this will place a little grill at the end so things don't fall off the shelf. Now we want to give this a color. Let's give it a light pink color, just to stick with the theme. And we'll click OK. And it's placed it down here. If I grab the part that's selected, I can drag it up and make sure I have it placed fully inside this door. Okay, so now let's give this text. So we are going to label this as open shelf with grill, -15-degree slope. Okay. So now we're going to draw another shelf. We're going to click create and we're going to click shelf and we'll call this shelf 2. This shelf is going to be the same size, so we'll 1 inch in height, 36 inches wide, and 20 inches deep. We will give this a slope of -10. However, we're not going to give it a grill. And we're doing this on purpose. However, most sloped shelves would have some kind of cap at the end to keep things from falling off. So we can go over here to our color and we can give it like a fuchsia color. And I'll click OK. I'll look over everything, looks good. And now I can just drag this shelf in here. And once again, I can create a text box. And I'm going to call this open shelf with -10-degree slope. I can go into my View tab and look at it in 3D mode. All right, so things are kind of starting to come together here. If I go to the rotate, I can see my grill, I can see these sloped shelves. So everything looks like it's working properly. So we'll go back to View and click Front, and we'll go back to our Build tab to continue making our fixtures. So now we're in the third segment. In this segment, we're going to create a lateral rod next. That's going to attach to the door. So to create a lateral rod, we will go to the Fixtures section and click Create, and you'll see lateral rod. And let's just give that a name. Now the dimensions specified here, we have 2 inches in height. We have 3 feet wide, so that will be 36 inches. And it'll be 2 inches in depth. And we're going to enter 1 foot in location Z. So I'm going to type in 1 feet. And that's because we know that the overall depth of the whole planogram is 2 feet. And we want this to be centered with that depth. So when we go to hang clothes on there, there's adequate equal space on each side of this lateral rod. Next, we're going to give it a color. We're going to do blue for this section. So let's find a light blue. We can even make it a little lighter if we want, and we'll click OK and make sure everything looks good. And I'm just going to bring my rod right up here, and I will label it with the text. We will call this lateral rod. Next, we're going to create a curved rod. So this curved rod will be affixed to the wall itself. It will not be affixed to structures on either side. So let's go to Create and click curved rod. You can kind of see how it curves right here. And we're going to label this curved rod. Now let's take a look at these dimensions. So we have 2 inches in height, and then we would like it to also be 2 inches wide. So that's our diameter. And then for the length, we will type in 30 inches. Now we need to enter the curve. Enter a negative 180 degrees for the curve degree, okay? So the curve degree is down here. It says negative 90. We're going to type 180 and we'll keep that negative sign. Now we're going to give it a color. Let's give it maybe, let's see, cobalt blue. And we'll click OK. And let's just look over everything. Looks good. We'll click OK. And you only see a little dot. This is just the beginning of the rod. So I'll place it right here. And we'll look at it in 3D view to make sure everything looks okay. So let's go to View, 3D. And we can rotate around. We can see our curved rod here. And it looks pretty good. Now let's go to the Build tab and get our text and create a text box for this, and we will call this curved rod. Next, we are going to create a gravity feed. Let's go to our fixtures and click Create, and we will go to the gravity feed. We will type in gravity feed. Now, the dimensions here are going to be 2 inches in height, and then we'll do 3 feet wide, or 36 inches. And then the depth will be 20 inches. And we're going to change this color to a dark blue. All right, so the gravity feed was placed here, and I can grab it with the selected area and move it right here. And I'm going to create a text box for this, so I will call this gravity feed. And click OK. And next we're going to create a shelf with manual dividers. So let's go to click Create, and we'll click Shelf, just as we have done many times, and we will type in Shelf 3. The shelf will be 1 inch high, it'll be 3 feet wide, and it will be 20 inches deep. We'll change this color to a light teal, and we're going to click OK, and we're going to move this shelf below the gravity feed. We'll move it here because we're going to add some dividers. Okay, so now we are going to add the dividers. So if you navigate to the Build tab under Fixtures, you can see the section that says Add Divider. Let's do that. So if we click this, we can enter 7 inches in height. We can enter 1 inch in width and 20 inches deep. We could choose a color. I'll just keep it this light teal so that it matches all together, and we'll click OK. So we've just added a divider. Now we can move the divider to the location that we please. So make sure you know it's on the shelf. Now if you want more of these, you can copy them by simply holding down, I think, Control and drag. And so I just copied it by just holding down Control and dragging. And so now I have multiple dividers. And then if you want to get really specific with, your positions, like you would if you're creating your own planogram, you can do that by probably double clicking on here and entering a more specific location. But for now, we're just playing around. hold down Control and drag. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And now I'm going to give this a label with my text. And it will be called Shelf with Dividers. Okay, cool. So now we are moving on to our fourth segment. We are first going to create a bin. We'll go to Build, Fixtures, click Create, and go to Bin. We'll just type in bin right here. Now this bin is going to have 1 inches in height under the base dimensions, 20 inches wide, and it will be 20 inches in depth. Now, however, there are also additional dimensions we need to input here for the wall section, which is here in the bottom left corner. So we need to input 12 inches in height here. We will input 1 inch for the left side and 1 inch for the right side. That's like the thickness of the walls. And we are going to change this color to yellow. Let's make sure everything looks good, and we'll click OK. And now we have a bin. So we can actually label this now with our text. We'll just draw right on it, and we'll call it bin. Next, we're going to create a chest, which is similar to a bin, but it's a little bit bigger. So let's go to Create under Fixtures and click Chest. And we will label this chest. Now, per the instructions, this chest will have a base dimension of 4 inches in height. It will be 30 inches wide, and it will be 20 inches deep. Next, we need to check out our walls. So the wall dimensions will be 20 inches in height, and for the left and right and front and back walls, it'll be 3 inches deep. And for this one, we will give it an orange color and click OK. So now we have a chest, and we can kind of place it right here in the middle. And once again, using our text, we can label this. All right. So now we're going to learn to create obstructions. Obstructions are kind of like walls or dividers, and even walls that can enclose the top so that we can create an enclosed obstruction. Okay, so let's navigate to our Fixtures and click Create and click Obstruction, which is almost to the very bottom. And we're going to call this OBS 1. Now, this first one needs to be the height of 6 feet. So that's our 72 inches. The width will be 2 inches. That's like the thickness of the wall. And then the depth will be 20 inches. Let's make sure everything looks good here. Now we're going to choose the color black for this. And let's click OK. So now you see this obstruction, it has been placed here, and I have it be flush to the bottom of the planogram. And so it goes along this whole entire side. Okay? So that's the first one. You place it to the outside. Next, we're going to create another one, OBS 2. These dimensions will be a little bit different. This one will be placed at the top to enclose the top of this enclosure. It's going to be 2 inches in height, which is the wall thickness. It will be 38 inches wide. So this includes the 36 inches, that is the planogram width, and then it includes the 2 inches of the wall thickness of the outside obstruction, 38 inches. And then, of course, the depth will be 20 inches. And we will change this color to black and click OK. And we will drag it right on there. Now we're going to create one more to create this, to complete this enclosure. So let's click Create, Obstruction, OBS3. This is going to be placed on the inside on top of the base, so these dimensions will be different once again. The height will be 66 inches because you got to remember we're subtracting the base dimensions. The width will be 2 inches, so the thickness of the wall, and then the depth will be 20 inches. And we want it to match the others, so we'll click black as the color and click OK. And we can place that right there. So let's take a look in the 3D view. So let's go to 3D. And we can see all these fixtures that we've made. Pretty cool. Let's go back to our front and label this before we save our planogram. So we'll call this obstruction fixture. Okay, beautiful. All right, so before we submit, we want to make sure we don't have any errors. So I see I have an X. I'm going to click this error, and it says shelf 2 has a downward slope. Shelf has no grill. That's okay. We did that on purpose. That seems to be my only error, so I'm going to continue on with saving and submitting. So I'll go to my icon here to click Save. I'm going to save any changes to this active file. I'm going to click Save anyway. And now you've just learned how to create all the fixtures in JDA, and hopefully this will allow you a little bit more creativity when you are creating your planograms. All right, have fun.